Heaven is the world in which your highest thoughts, wishes, hopes, and ideals actually become reality. There are no failures or disappointments. Here, your finest dreams come true. Everything you could not achieve on earth due to adverse conditions becomes a reality there, a true paradise. Very important, the higher souls can no longer be troubled by the lower ones. Those do not get beyond the lower spheres. They have no access to the top. The finer spheres are not accessible to rough consciousnesses. This is a worthy order, because there's no paradise where you can still be disturbed by the rudeness of undeveloped consciousnesses. Where there is open access to the light, thither the darkness cannot penetrate. For those refined fiery strata are inaccessible to the dark ones. The highest spheres of the subtle world are a place of recreation and refilling of the spiritual forces. Here the soul enjoys a moment of rest from the worldly struggles before returning sooner or later to the earth. Weak souls are naturally inclined to rest at such a pleasant place as long as possible. The strong, however, require only a short resting period between the incarnations. They are driven forward soon to further achievements. Devachan, heaven, is a place of pleasant realizations, but at the same time it is dangerous, because a weak spirit is reluctant to leave so pleasant a station. This station yields the greatest unwillingness to return for more labor. And when the time comes to leave this Valhalla, while the mental body impels one to achievement, the astral body finds the place most comfortable. Eternal rest, however, does not exist, not even in the supermundane world. There, too, work, spiritual work, is indispensable. There, too, we strive on to higher achievements. Only someone who has no ideals will remain unemployed there. Only a consciousness that is still caught in the lower self will imagine his heaven as a place of laziness and sensual pleasures, which means at the time, at that level, create for himself such a heaven. The heaven of the spiritual warrior is a sphere of undisturbed contemplation, spiritual discipline, strained spiritual work, and continuing struggle. Agni Yoga says, "They will ask, what kind of heaven is yours?" Answer, the heaven of toil and struggle. Out of toil is born invincibility. Out of struggle, beauty. The fight consists of high souls descending unto the lower layers to help those dwelling there to free themselves. Therefore, even in the other world, everyone has the opportunity to get out of his predicament and to ascend to brighter realms, if only he really wishes to do so. When looking at the highest world, we must not forget that the material and the spiritual world are one. They are the two sides of one and the same reality. There is in fact no separation between them. They exist simultaneously and side by side. The transitions are fluid. There is a variety of levels and gradations, of coarse and coarsest to subtle and finest spheres, which merge imperceptibly into one another. The earthly and the higher world are a permeable unity with spheres of different density of matter and spirituality, merging into one another. Already here on earth, you can be close to heaven and make it a reality. The highest earthly beings reach close to the spiritual world. On the other hand, the souls of the lower spheres of the subtle world are drifting near the earth, creating mischief and troubling those incarnated human beings which do not protect themselves adequately. The refusal of man to see reality in the face is the main reason for the current separation of the world. Anyone who denies the very existence of the supermundane world cannot interact with it. In earlier, purer and more spiritual epochs, the earthly and the higher world were not so sharply separated. Heaven was not so far away from earth as it is today. We need to restore the unity of the worlds. We need the earth to reapproach to heaven. This will happen when we transform down here into physical reality the principles of the higher world: truth, justice, beauty, and love. The supermundane world is needed in each human action. We do not speak about abstract morality, but about the actual building of life. The realization of the supermundane world must be applied to every action. Only thus can one become a co-worker of the supermundane world and properly prepare oneself for life. One of the key messages of Agni Yoga is: heaven is everywhere, even on the material plane, even on this planet, where the supremacy of these principles is enforced. The awareness of the inseparability of the physical and the spiritual world will change our way of life fundamentally. It will lead to a collaboration with the higher worlds. It is the mission of man to be a collaborator of the higher powers. Unlike in the animal kingdom, the further evolution of man and of the earth as a whole cannot be achieved without our participation. Unity of the worlds primarily means that the spiritual spheres exercise a concrete and transparent influence on the material plane. It is time that humanity frees itself from the error that reads the observance or non-observance of the principles of the higher world is a luxury which you can afford in one situation but not in the other, and which is, in any case, without any impact on the real life on earth. The opposite is true. The physical spheres cannot be separated from the spiritual ones. The observance or breach of the laws of the higher world has a tangible impact on the material plane. According to the law of correspondence, we attract, with every act of good or bad, the corresponding beings and energies from the subtle world. There is a continuous contact of the subtle world with earthly life. Not a single earthly action remains unanswered on the part of the subtle world. Each earthly thought arouses either joy and assistance or malevolence and destructive sendings from the subtle world. Such communion attracts a multitude of listeners, co-workers, as it were. He who investigates deeper will find out that ethics are not a fantasy of the imagination, but the very basis of our everyday life. If ethics are out of operation, the material life collapses as well. All human life, even on the lowest level of organization, is based on the respect of certain spiritual principles. Not even a band of robbers can exist without their particular style of leadership, justice, and peace. Let us hear Hermann Hesse. People know or dimly feel that if thinking is not kept pure and keen, and if respect for the world of the spirit is no longer operative, ships and automobiles will soon cease to run right. The engineer's slide rule and the computations of banks and stock exchanges will forfeit validity and authority, and chaos will ensue. It took long enough in all conscience for realization to come that the externals of civilization, technology, industry, commerce, and so on, also require a common basis of spiritual morality and honesty. The terrible conditions on the earth today result more from the infringement of spiritual laws than from physical causes. The reason for this is that ultimately the spiritual world determines the life on the material plane as well. The spirit governs all worlds. What is happening on the lowest material plane is only a reflection and embodiment of spiritual causes. An ethical life is nothing more than an existence in accordance with the laws of the universe. Any violation of these laws must necessarily, sooner or later, produce consequences on the material level as well. To finalize this broadcasting a very last word, did we not show you a picture of the supermundane world that is breathtaking in its beauty? From this beauty, you can deduct the truth of what we have said. At least on the spiritual plane, the rule is nothing untrue can be so beautiful. The highest beauty is the highest truth.